We got to start with the name, of course, as one does when you name something F something. So what's the inspiration behind using some pretty coarse language to describe what you want to do?
You know, we started because my mom got diagnosed with cancer. And at the time, it was just such an authentic response to a situation I didn't know how to handle. It wasn't, people give me far too much credit. I didn't sit there and think up a name. I would have liked to have done that. Then I could take credit. But it was just how I felt. I think it's how a lot of people feel, and it really well encompasses what you're feeling.
Yeah, right. My college roommate had died of cancer shortly after we had graduated, and that was certainly a sentiment that I had felt as well. You just want to obliterate this thing. You want to obliterate this illness that goes through people who we love and we know dearly. And in your starting up this initiative, how exactly have you gone about then seeking that obliteration?
Digitally, actually. We are a digital movement that aims at education on early detection, prevention, and communication. So we focus on the youth. Actually, and that was something that we decided really early on because it was overly apparent to me that while I was a primary caregiver for my mom along with my father, nobody was really speaking to our generation about cancer because we weren't in the highest risk demographic, we certainly weren't the largest donors, and so we were being left out of this huge conversation. And I wanted to build something for our generation because this sure as hell affects us.
Yeah, and so then how have you found social media, technology to really help aid your reaching out to our generation?
Well, when you're speaking to the youth, you have to go where they are, which is online, and you have to speak their language, which is, humor and wit and edge, and it's allowing them to interact and engage with a topic that's really serious and scary a lot of the time in a way that we're often not allowed to. And so by building on existing digital platforms and building a lot of our own platforms, we've let people come and learn and share this experience with not only us, but the entire community.
And what are some of the new platforms you have?
Well, obviously we use Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and all of the standards, which are great ways for letting people not only, again, interact with us, but really with each other, because so much of what we do is about the community's experiences and helping each other. But then we also build our own platforms, whether it's through a campaign or whether it's an asset, a tool that will be on the website whenever you might need it.
And you have a new community app launching?
We do. We're building it at the moment. When we first launched the site, we had this beautiful flash, page that let people post with, pictures and videos and text of what they were thinking and going through. And as Flash got phased out, the site no longer was really relevant. And so we tried to rebuild in HTML when we launched the new site, but it didn't quite get there. So we are building it from scratch, and we're building something beautiful that really lets people capture what they're feeling in that very moment. And it's a great way for us to harness the cumulative experiential knowledge of the community and let our patients and supporters and community help each other in a way that really only a patient can help another patient.
Yeah, and you have, and we showed this before, but I'm going to show again the website, you have splashed across 90% of cancers are curable if caught in stage 1. This isn't just a support group, right? This is also educative. It's also a way to find outreach, to get people to catch things early, to make sure that, people don't reach stage 4. People are able to get something quickly, get it gone, and eradicate.
Definitely. So we started predominantly focusing on early detection. My mom's cancer was caught early, and it is what saved her life, and it's what I will be forever grateful to. And so when we started, it was about teaching people how to look for cancer instead of just find it. We wanted to teach you how to learn what cancers you're at highest risk for, based on your family history, knowing what the earliest warning signs for those cancers were, what to watch out for, learning about a risk-reductive lifestyle. And we spent 2 years really building on that. And then as we went into our 3rd year, we decided that we could layer on top of it. We had built a strong enough community that now it was time to talk about 2 other things. And the first was prevention. And instead of telling people what to do, we told them why, and we let them make their own decision, which seems so simple. But it wasn't something a lot of people were doing. So instead of telling you why not to eat meat or to go alkaline or what alcohol or sugar, why you shouldn't be eating them, we told you what they do in your body through interactive infographics, and then let the community decide for themselves. And the second part that we layered on is really what has helped us grow, and it's what the community resonated so well with and responded to amazingly. And that was communication. That was the human side. It was taking thousands of pages of peer-reviewed medical journals and distilling it to interactive infographics. But instead of just telling you what a biopsy is, we told you what it's going to feel like. Or things like, how do you tell your mom you have cancer? the stuff that nobody really talks about.
Yeah, and speaking of how to tell your mom you have cancer, you've created a new campaign, also some new videos about comparing it to the sex talk even.
That was one of the first campaigns we launched. It was called the Cancer Talk. It's one of my very favorite. And since day one, we had asked kids to talk to their parents about cancer, find out where your family history is, so you know what cancer is, your highest risk for, earliest warning signs, and make sure that your parents are staying on top of their annual diagnostics. And a lot of them came back to us and were like, that's awkward. How do you even start that conversation?
Yeah.
And so we sat around our boardroom table and we tried to think about the most awkward conversations we'd ever had. And while being one of the most amusing meetings of my life, it became very apparent that for most of us, it was the sex talk. Your parents sat you down because they loved you and they cared about you and they wanted to keep you safe, not because they particularly wanted to talk to you about sex. But now it's your turn to sit them down for the cancer talk. It's time to make sure that our parents are being safe about cancer. And so we built a 3-part digital campaign that got 55 million views the first week.
Wow.
So it was a great validation of what, that the community was resonating with what we were doing.
And it's a pretty well-known name is appearing in those videos.
Yes, we had a lot of our awesome,
least, right?
high-profile supporters come and, in one of the parts of the video, the first was a automated voicemail. Basically, we repurposed an existing political platform that politicians use to campaign. And you might have seen it used as well for the snakes on a plane voicemail.
I've had enough of these M-effing cancers and this M-effing mother, right? It's a great way. I'm not sure exactly if that's what you had Samuel L. Jackson to say, but
we didn't have Samuel L. Jackson.
I know, I'm joking.
We had celebrities that resonated with our parents' demographic, because I'm pretty sure if Samuel called them, they'd be like, who is this?
Yeah.
And we had them leave a voicemail that actually said nothing about cancer.
Yeah.
So as your whatever you had inputted, your son, daughter, cat really cares about you, and they have something important to talk to you about Wednesday at 2 p.m. So it set a time, and that was its purpose. And by not actually talking about cancer, we had so many parents come back to us and be like, thought my kid was pregnant or expelled or something terrible was happening.
Wow.
So they sat down and they had the chat. But the second component was the celebrity videos, where we had some of our supporters talk about their awkward sex talks and then give a call to action.
Well, Yael, Verizon asked its communities if they have a question for you, and here's one. In fact, I think you just answered this question. It's from Jim McDonald at MacDaddy821. What was the inspiration behind the Cancer Talk campaign?
There you go.
There you go. There we have it. You already answered it. So what's next for you guys?
We're going to continue to build platforms and tools and campaigns that let the community interact and engage with each other, that humanize this process. And while we're always going to have our early detection and prevention information and education on the site, what the community's really been asking for is a safe space to come and not only understand what's happening or is going to happen, but a place to find out the things that nobody's talking about. And, what should you eat before chemo? What shouldn't you eat? What was the best or worst thing somebody said to you? Really harnessing, again, the power of our community to help new patients and old patients, for that matter. Yeah. So we are building a bunch of digital platforms and tools, and the one that's going to be launching next is actually called Demikov. And it is a Facebook app, it's a game, I'm going to call it a game, that we built with this amazing company in Vancouver called Aogo, who has partnered with us and really taught me more than I ever thought I would or wanted to know about online games. But it's a way that lets our community learn about prevention and early detection in a way that is more of an irreverent disruption than your typical, here's information about cancer.
Yeah.
And it lets us identify ambassadors early on and really let them grow within the organization and help us spread the message.
Cool. And you speak so much about community. Community is a big thing for us here as well at HuffPost Live. And from some people watching the segment right now are commenting. We have MI Woman saying, as someone who lost their thyroid to cancer, it's very important to connect with others who deal with it. It's nice to speak with someone who can answer the questions that start with, is it just me or do you? Got another one from, let me go to one other one here from Foxy Shazam saying, my mom is a cancer survivor, lung cancer, 1/3 of her lung was removed and she went through chemo and radiation. All the while she kept her full-time job with breaks and was in the process of moving homes. She never sought out others with cancer, now 6 years cured, a hero. And one more from Zev Hadash saying, I've had a lump removed. Since then my mother had it and my sisters had testing to see their genetic predisposition. Since my birthday is in October, my gift from female family members is to get full checkups. So you must hear these stories all the time.
We hear a lot of them, and we're so grateful to the community for sharing them with us and for sharing the worst and the best days of their lives with us.
Yeah. Well, Yael, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And F cancer, huh? All right. So, do you have a game-changing idea of your own? Well, Verizon is awarding $10 million in prizes for new ideas in healthcare, education, and sustainability. You can enter the challenge at powerfulanswersaward.com. You can check out the info in our resource well right beneath me.